kind of hard to ignore what also happened this week on the internet was well, first of all, they had announced that they were going to have a Batman versus Superman trailer in IMAX theaters, and then someone in Brazil leaked it, and so Warner Brothers had to say, okay, fine, here's the trailer in HD on your internet, so you're welcome. But the thing is, the trailer also came out on the heels of Daredevil. It also came out on the heels of the new Star Wars trailer, and everyone who watched the Batman versus Superman trailer was like, this looks horrible.
I think terrible timing, just because the Star Wars trailer had just come out.
And everyone loved it,
exactly.
Universally. Batman versus Superman, they're Zack Snyder and company is going for the dark, gritty, grim, dark Batman, right? Like, as if we haven't had enough grim, dark Batman, they're going for that again. But Marvel has showed, like, no, this is how you do grim, dark. You do grim, dark this way, and it works, right? Like, that's the thing DC hasn't figured out.
Yeah, exactly. Like their grim dark is kind of built around the fact that Batman and Superman are not dark characters. And like in the sense that like in our minds Batman doesn't hold guns and Superman doesn't kill. So for them dark is Superman kills and Batman has a sniper rifle. Like that's what dark is. Marvel characters are never pure godlike platonic ideals to begin with.
The difference between Marvel and DC in the comics throughout the years was that, like Raymond said, DC was, because they had these out of the ordinary, fantastical characters, these godlike characters. They were more inherently goofy. Like in the if you look at the DC comics of like the 50s and 60s, like the Dick Sprang Batman and all that stuff. Like there's a reason that the Adam West Batman came out in 1966. The whole Marvel age of superheroes was that this is what real people look like when they're superheroes. They have real world problems. They, Spider-Man is unpopular when he's Peter Parker, and the Fantastic Four they love each other, but they're a dysfunctional family. Like there was like real pathos to superheroes, but like it feels like that in the movies, like the Marvel movies in the aggregate are brighter and sunnier and more joyful than any of the DC movies that have come out in the last 10 years. So where did that flip come from?
I really don't have an answer for that exactly, but what I will say is that what makes dark work for me is when you have to cut it with comedy. Like there has to be a counterbalance there, and that's what makes the darkness as compelling as it is and realistic as entertaining, is when you have something that can counterbalance.
It feels like that the creators behind the Marvel films so far have figured out that I think the biggest thing is that they're trying to go for the substance over the style, right? Whereas like so far, I mean, it's hard to talk about Batman vs Superman because it's not out yet. We don't know. All we know is this trailer. This is the first footage anyone's.
We also know that Zack Snyder is directing it, so we know.
Right, right. Then Zack Snyder's all about the style and not about the substance whatsoever, and I think that's where the disconnect lies. Where especially because Warner Brothers has entrusted their DC cinematic universe to his vision, basically. Like he's driving that universe, whereas who's driving it for Marvel is Kevin Feige, and if anything, he's proven over the last 7 or 8 years so far is that his vision, he knows the Marvel characters inside out, so that when he adapts them for live action, he's figured out the nut to crack for each character, and I think the thing that he's figured out is that each character in the Marvel universe has a very unique point of view, so that each of these movies that we're making are going to be unique in that, like, so the Captain America movie is going to be political thrillers, and the Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be space opera, and then Daredevil is going to be dark and gritty street vigilante. Like they all exist in the same universe, but they don't have to have the same tone. Whereas with the DC movies so far, what we're seeing is that not only do they all have the same tone, but they're all going to have the same visual style. They're all going to have the same drab, muted color costumes and everything like that. So, and Rob Guillory, the comic book artist, he tweeted the other day when the trailer came out that it feels like Batman versus Superman is like the Ed Hardy of superhero movies. And I think that's kind of like there's a dude broness to Zack Snyder's kind of take on superheroes that I think is kind of what's coming through in the Batman versus. I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting because Zack Snyder comes off kind of like as a dude bro, but I don't know.
Just how you mentioned that each of the characters have their own sort of unique perspective and vision. Just going back to what we were saying earlier, it's going to be really interesting to see when Luke Cage and Iron Fist and the others come out, like how they're going to, like, are they all going to have that same tone as Daredevil? And probably not. If they don't, how is that going to look when Defenders come? Like, how are they going to balance that out? It's something that keeps me excited, looking forward to the other series to come.